Hello, beautiful MILFs, and welcome back to another episode of the MILFs Who Pivot podcast, where the term MILF is short for Money Making Independent Lady Friends. I'm your host, Bianca Terry, and each week I'll either be interviewing or reading about amazing women who have pivoted in life to pursue their wildest dreams and wealth from a MILF's perspective. This podcast aims to motivate and encourage other MILFs to boldly explore uncharted paths towards a fresh and fabulous leveled up life. Hey there, everybody. This is actually my first solo episode. The only time I ever recorded myself alone was the official trailer, which was only, I think it was less than 2 minutes long. And one of the things I wanted to do, in addition to interviewing people, was to share things that I wanted to talk about in the form of solo episodes. Now, full disclosure, I am behind showcasing or sharing 2 solo episodes. And I'm putting this all out there for accountability because going forward, I want to make sure that I'm inserting myself maybe every 3 to 4 interviews. I'm doing a solo episode. And it doesn't have to be, it's not going to be super long or anything, just on a topic that I either want to talk about or I'm going to read about someone that I really admire. And the 2 weeks that I missed was this past week, as you can see, and I'm going to put it out there. Today is Sunday, July 21st. I'm recording this Sunday evening. I'm late. I'm already past the week that I was supposed to share this episode, but that's okay. I'm still doing it. And then for the other one, I'm probably going to try and fit it in. And I say try because I have a lot of other obligations this coming week. But if I can get it in, I'm going to get it in. Otherwise, I think I can do it over the weekend. So you're going to get 3 episodes out of me this week because there's going to be an interview posted midweek. You're getting this solo episode today, and if I can make it happen, you'll get another solo episode over the weekend, and then I'm going to be back on track. I'm going to keep to a schedule that works for me, but I'm going to make sure that, when I say to myself, I'm going to share a solo episode, that I'm going to share a solo episode. So, having said that, let's get into today's topic. And this is something that's very important to me, very near and dear to my heart, because this particular thing opened the door for a major pivot in my own life. And that is intention. Living life with intention, an intentional lifestyle, or a life full of intentional activities. Okay, I just said that word like 15 times, but you get what I mean. And if you don't, people might say, well, what does that mean? What is, living life with intention mean? What does the word intention mean? Well, according to the dictionary, it's something that you want and plan to do. It's an aim. And so, what does living life with intention mean? It is essentially making the decision to get off of autopilot and take control of how you live and what you do, which then impacts the way you feel and how you show up in the world. Many of us have been on cruise control, sort of gliding through life, blinded by the routines we've fallen into without fully living up to who we were made to be. And somehow along the way, that person, your original spirit, or your little self, as I like to say, has been diminished throughout the years. So we could be trained to live a life according to standards set by the societies in which we live, otherwise known as traditional roots. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with setting up what you feel is a stable lifestyle or a comfortable lifestyle. But I do believe that we have moments where we consider that we may not be as happy and fulfilled as we portray ourselves to others and to our own adult selves. Because, remember, we try to fool ourselves as well with the mess that we say. I believe there are many steps to take to move towards a self determined life, a meaningful life, or a life with purpose. But the first step is to actually make the decision to change. This involves being aware of what your current state is and knowing that you want something different. Even if you don't have a clear vision at that point, it doesn't matter because once you give yourself the permission to change, then you can begin to move forward. So today, I just want to share 12 ways that you can really put forth effort and thought into creating a life full of intention and joy. So let's get into it. The first one is you need to spend time getting to know yourself. That means alone time so that you can really think about what your likes, dislikes, wants, and needs are at this phase in your life. You need to determine what you really value in life, things you would like to prioritize. And if time and money were no limit, imagine your dream life. And in order to do any of this, you've got to eliminate as many distractions as possible. Perhaps take a few minutes of each day or a weekend, whatever you can fit into your personal schedule, it's a must. And then you got to keep in mind that with every season life brings us, we change over time. Our wants and needs, they're going to change periodically. So we need to become in tune with ourselves and recognize those shifts so that we can pivot accordingly. The second thing I want to share is you need to learn to listen to your inner voice, otherwise known as our gut or intuition. Whatever it is, it's built in to all of us and speaks to us often. This inner voice we have serves as a guide to keep us safe and helps us make difficult decisions. I feel like we can learn to trust our gut the more we empower ourselves to fully listen. And it's like a muscle that gets stronger over time. The better we know ourselves, the better we are at the better we are at activating our voice of reason, and the less we are at second guessing ourselves. We learn to make decisions more confidently with ease. Number three. Now, here's the fun part. You got to develop a vision. This is where the fun starts. I myself am very vision oriented. Everything I do begins with a vision. There are a couple ways that you can achieve this part of the process. Many of us don't have a vision ready to go, but you can get there with certain tools and exercises. One of the things that I absolutely love, and I feel like it works, and you can actually manifest new things for yourself. And when I say things, I'm not solely speaking of things you can touch and feel, not tangible items, but just your new environment, your new lifestyle. One of the things I love is to create a vision board. And, basically it's just a board that you get. You can use poster board where you can attach photos of things you like, things that resonate with you, or phrases that represent where you want to be in life, what you want, and how you envision your environment and life. And I'm talking about these can be from the littlest things to the most grand things. And for example, littlest thing, if you want a pet, for example, put a picture of the kind of pet that you want. So it's the things, it's feelings, all of these things will help you create an emotional connection to that in which you yearn for. And that begins the process of manifesting change and specifically attracting those things to your real life. If you're not, keen on the vision board idea, you can use a journal to write out what you want and how you envision your new self in life. Just make lists, track progress, and be as descriptive as possible because the words that you put on the paper is exactly how you are envisioning your new life. Number four, this is very important, and this is also one of the things you want to do at the very beginning of your process. And I'll just also mention that these tips or these suggestions are not in order, but some of them you do want to do early in the process. And so, number four is make space for change. And in order to do that, you need to declutter. That is decluttering your physical space and decluttering your mind. And I want to share something with you that stuck with me for years. I know at this time, it's 2024, more than 10 years ago, there was a show. I don't remember the network, but it was a really popular series called Clean House, and Niecy Nash was the host. And she would go in people's homes. It was filmed in Los Angeles. She would go in people's homes and assess the damage, per se, and help them clean out all their clutter and make them, be accountable for that. She had them separating things that they, I think it was a keep, a giveaway, and a sell pile. And, ever so often she'd have to hire vendors to help with different aspects of the cleaning process. And this one guy I will never forget, I think he was what do you call those people that really clean your cars? He had an automobile detailing business, like a car cleaning business, but they get all into the cracks and crevices. And he was saying that, over the years he's had so many different kinds of clients. He's seen so many different kinds of messes. And what he found to be true is that you have a messy car, you have a messy house, and a messy life. And I thought, oh my gosh. So one of the first things I did was run outside and look inside my car. And I was like, well, I don't want that to be me. And I remember at the time, this is in general, I was keeping my car clean. I made sure of that. Even with having a child, you get spills and crumbs and you're carrying around extra things. But in general, the car was clean. And so I was like, whew, that's not me. Make sure on a regular basis I'm keeping my car clean, keeping my house clean, because cleanliness is very important to me. And also, I understand the direct effect your environment has on your psyche and how you operate. And, if you're a creative person, you have to have a certain environment around you. And for me, I don't operate well in clutter. So I just want you to think about that. Look around at your space. If you know you're ready to make a change, how can you operate as your best self when you are constantly shifting around unnecessary items in your physical space, moving things to the side, picking things up, moving it here, moving it there? That, oh my gosh, I'm telling you, if you do this exercise, you will notice you'll probably, I don't know, let your house lose weight. We talk about as people, oh, sometimes we feel like, oh, we got to lose weight. We got to get these pounds down. Well, what is your physical space looking like? Does your house need to lose weight? Take stock of your home and then think about your mind. So when you clear out your physical space, it should be like a domino effect, and it will help to clean out the mental clutter. But a lot of people, and me included, sometimes our minds are on overload and we're carrying around too much in our minds that doesn't need to be there. Maybe it's old things that we are having an issue getting rid of. Maybe, it's old relationship drama, it's old work drama. And maybe I shouldn't say drama, but trauma, because that's what it is when things affect us like that and we hold on to it. It's cluttering our minds. How can we reach the goals that we want to reach if we're still worried about something that happened 10 years ago? So I didn't want to spend a lot of time on number four, but as you can see, number four is really, really important. I'm just a firm believer that it'll be really difficult for you to do the things you want to do, make the changes you want to make changes to, if you don't clean out your space and work on cleaning out your mind. Okay, number five. So after you've cleaned out everything, now you need to develop an action plan. How do you develop a plan? Well, that's when you ask yourself questions about what is possible in terms of what can be done to make shifts in your life, to move towards a life of intention, a life you can enjoy while being your authentic self, your true self. So that means, putting together an action plan is looking at your major goals or major changes, and then putting together a list of action items, things it's going to take, that'll roll up and get that larger thing done. And, it doesn't have to be anything grand in the beginning. In fact, later on, I am going to touch on keep it simple. So I don't want to get into that right now, but start to make your plan. Everything that you want to do, those can be your milestones. And then the actions that it's going to take to get those milestones completed, you can call those your subtasks. Okay, now I'm feeling like I'm at work. I'm just using an example. However you want to do it, but think plan, because without a plan, you won't really be able to take good action. Number six, here we go. Start small. And that means don't overwhelm yourself with huge life changes all at once. Focus on the bite sized changes that you can incorporate into your daily routine, or maybe you need to create a routine or completely redo the one you have. But think about what you're doing on a daily basis, all of the activities that encompass your day. And this may include working as a full time employee, running a business, or something else. And then you think about in what areas could you make changes to suit your needs. Perhaps it's setting boundaries at work. This is a big one. Maybe you're the person at work who's always eager to help. You're always taking on extra assignments or projects and putting yourself last because you think you're doing a good thing, which it is. We should all, try to help our fellow colleagues in some way, shape, form, or fashion because we appreciate when people help us get through something or learn something new. But if you find that all of this is sucking time out of your day that you could spend doing something else to fill your cup, then you should reevaluate that strategy. Another example is when you think about your day, are you doing things that help you achieve optimal health? Are you doing things that make you smile? Are you doing things that make you feel good? Are you doing things that maybe will help you towards a larger goal in the future? That's what I'm saying. Start with those small bite sized pieces and then you can work your way up. Number 7, decide what you are willing to give up and or sacrifice to make you a better you. And this is really important because a lot of times when we're on autopilot, we just indulge in all kinds of things that might feel good in the moment, but then afterwards we're like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Why did I spend that? Or why did I eat that? Why did I drink that? That's what I mean. What are you willing to give up so that you can get to the next step? Everybody's situation is going to be different. You have to look internally and figure that out. And that's why spending time alone, getting to know yourself is very important because you'll have time to think about these things. They'll start popping up. Number 8, reset how you spend time and money, which kind of goes hand in hand with decide what you're willing to give up or sacrifice in order to get to the next level. So reset how you spend time and money. Why time and money? Well, these are our two biggest resources and they are easily depleted. The thing about time is that once it's gone, it's gone. You can't do something and then look back and say, oh man, I need to get those 3 hours back. It's not going to happen. You can only look forward with time. But with money, you can always acquire more. But time is a different ballgame. We must make sure that we're using both resources to the best of our ability and monitor the usage. We've got to protect these precious resources because they can be critical in getting us where we need to be in many instances. Number 9 is eliminate procrastination. And the more I thought about this, I wondered, can procrastination really be eliminated? Or do we find workarounds or ways that we use to just knock down some of the blockages that contribute to procrastination? I think the first step is you have to recognize when it's procrastination. I think we can push through procrastination. We can knock down some of the blockages that get in the way of us completing certain things. But first, I think the first step is we really need to recognize when it is procrastination and not, some major outside force that's preventing us from doing what we need to do. But a lot of times when we set our minds to something, we might fall back and blame it on all kinds of silly things and try to dress it up as a real reason when no, they're just excuses and we're procrastinating, meaning we're not getting what we need to get done because of our own selves. Number 10 is celebrate your accomplishments, large or small. I think when we're in the process of acting on our action plan or our roadmap we've created to intentionally pivot our lives, we must track our progress and stop to honor completed milestones. Whatever it is, if it's on your list and you're able to check it off, give yourself a pat on the back. Don't look for outside validation. I think that is really important. And a lot of us get stuck doing this because we're thinking, okay, I just knocked this out. I'm really proud of myself. Let's see what so and so thinks. and we're waiting for that. And when we don't get that, we're like, oh, well, maybe it's not as good as it was. Maybe it's not as important as it was to my growth. You have to block that out, or you're going to be in for a rude awakening. It's a bonus when you get praise from others, whether it be family, friends, work environment. Always, always focus on yourself. If you've done something on your personal list, you should acknowledge that for yourself, because when we do that, it helps to keep the growth moving in a positive direction. Number 11, hang with me now, we're almost done. Recognize that change is not easy. And many times you are going to feel uncomfortable because you are adjusting to new ways of thinking and being. A lot of times when we get on the course of doing something new, trying to make a change for ourselves, we can get discouraged really easily because it's not a smooth road. No, there's going to be bumps and humps and bruises along the way, but we have to keep going. Got to move through that uncomfortableness, if that's a word, to get to the other side. If you stay in your comfortable zone, which that's what we're accustomed to. Being comfortable feels great, doesn't it? Yes, we're comfortable. No, that's not how you grow. So you got to get out of the comfort zone, be uncomfortable for a little while you're working through it, go and get to the other side, and then you can celebrate. And finally, number 12, you need to understand that lifestyle redesign is not a race. It's not something where you're going to say, okay, here's my list, here's my action plan, I got my vision, and I want to have all these things accomplished in 60 days. Well, you're setting yourself up for failure, because there's going to be, like I just mentioned, bumps along the way. You want to plan for those bumps, not necessarily knowing exactly how they're going to come your way or when, but you want to have your mindset in place to where you factor this into your plan. Okay, when these obstacles come, how am I going to respond? Is that going to make me retreat and give up? Or let me try to get my mental strength up so that when they come, I recognize them and I find a way around them or way to move through them. So, lifestyle redesign takes time and careful planning, repetition, and consistency. Okay, that is a huge key word, consistency. You must keep going. And that's it. That's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I meant to mention also in the beginning to take notes. So feel free to watch this again, share it with others, but get started. That's the most important thing. Get started, get your vision together, get your action plan, and start taking the steps. Thanks, everyone. See you next week. Thank you for tuning in to another exciting episode of the MILFs Who Pivot podcast. Please take a minute to leave a review, and don't forget to follow the show, download the episodes, and share with the other MILFs in your life. Listen in on any of the major platforms, including Apple and Spotify, or watch our videos on YouTube. You can join the community on Facebook and Instagram at MILFs Who Pivot Podcast.